Welcome everyone, super excited to be here today. Today, this diverse panel will discuss the impact of blockchain for public good, diving deep into the potential of blockchain as a tool for addressing some of the world's most critical social challenges, as well as providing insights into scaling blockchain initiatives for a broader and global reach. Today, I'm joined with an awesome panel, and I'll actually dive into the first question first, and then you can kind of introduce yourself as you're answering the first question to save a little bit of time here. So I would love to know from each of you, how can blockchain effectively bridge the gap between innovation and social impact to tackle critical issues like poverty, healthcare access, as well as environmental challenges? And I would love to know a little bit about the success, if you could share something of your own experiences and projects.
Thank you very much. My name's Ads. I'm the CEO of Partisia Blockchain Foundation. Partisia is a data privacy protocol. So we're doing for data what blockchain did for money. Whereas previously you had to either trust the banks with your money or hide your money under your mattress. Before Partisia and other privacy preserving technologies, you either had to give up your data to everyone you wanted to interact with or return to cave dwelling. We enable people to self-custody that data while enabling kind of rich interactions with it without revealing it. That is important because it removes a barrier to a lot of these use cases and to onboarding more and more use cases to use this technology. We have therefore been able to enable projects like Vorne.ai, who are creating a better form of philanthropy. So with better trust, with better verification, with faster speeds, more cross-border ease, with fewer intermediaries, so that the aid that's given goes to the people who need it. They've also had a project called Project Rescue, where that's been able to support vulnerable populations in particular. We've worked with the International Committee of the Red Cross to enable humanitarian aid distribution, whereas previously in some of these conflict zones, receiving aid put a target on your back. We enable to do that with greater privacy. So these are just some of the examples.
Thank you. Hey, I'm Lucas from PositiveBlockchain. We started the network and association actually mapping the ecosystem of startups and projects using blockchain for the SDGs 2017. Back then, I think we had about 20 to 30 startups mapped around the world that were actually using, smart contracts for good. It was just a very starting ecosystem, and I'm really amazed that today we cannot keep track of this anymore. If you want to see some 1,500, I invite you to go to the website. You can also download the open data, so a list of startups across multiple use cases. So of course, as we mature with the ecosystem, the communities and technologies maturing, we also see a lot of new trends. It definitely started with more cryptocurrency use case types, then moved into smart contract for things like supply chain and traceability. Then we had the phase of the initial coin offering, then the impact DAO. I think now we are in a phase where we are looking a lot at environmental assets, regenerative finance as a trend, probably since the 1 or 2 years in the blockchain for good space. Maybe the 2 or 3 areas for me that I see as a huge potential and great opportunity for blockchain in the SDGs. First one is the next billion. I think it was really mentioned many times today, focusing on the unbanked. Probably I'm not the problem in terms of accessing identities or financial services, but there are billions of people that have these issues. So how do we design systems for these people to access financial services and payment and value? I think that's really a key where we don't have the killer app yet, but I think it would be deserved. The next area is on climate finance. It's a topic where I'm working on more at the moment. I think Gabriela mentioned that indeed, in the traditional carbon market, it's really hard for small-scale landowners, farmers, or asset owners to access the market. I think the case of coffee farmers is very interesting because where coffee is grown is where nature grows the best, right? So it's very rich biodiversity environment. So we have to find new ways to transfer value to these people so that they protect nature and biodiversity with payment for ecological services and stewardship, for example. And so, yeah, the last one is definitely connected to the two, is definitely in agriculture, which is also a very difficult space to approach, but I really think that that's probably where we're going to see the huge lift and the huge impact moving forward.
Thank you, Lucas. Hi, everyone. Mariana here, one of the board of directors of Inatba. But on my day today, I'm actually an independent consultant, which gives me the pleasure of picking the projects that I'm working with. And I work, I don't have many things that I pick when I pick the projects, but at the core, I look at projects that actually have the potential to generate impact, because my background is in human rights law. So this is the core of what I do, what I'm passionate about, and what I want to work. So I'm really happy that Gabriela was first, because actually Ethics Hub is one of the projects that I always use as a really good example of actually something that is already generating impact in an area that we have been failing for decades, if not centuries, right? Which is taking care of the agriculture and the farmers, which are the core of everything, basically. No agriculture, no food, no nothing. And we tend to forget about these things. And I think this is one of the greatest examples that we have in the industry, among some other great projects that we have, because technology is just basically a tool, and it really comes to us how we use it, whether it's for good or for bad. And this is one of the biggest assets that we have right now, because I really believe and fundamentally believe that blockchain brings new opportunities to solve issues that we have in society for decades and we have not been able to address, and we keep failing. So when we look at what is going on right now and why we are not achieving the Sustainable Development Goals or the Green Deal in Europe, and you talk to the experts, they're gonna come with well, first of all, it's finance, that this is really difficult to move. And then when you want to move, then you have greenwashing. So how we do this? And then all of these issues can be addressed and are already being addressed by projects that are developing solutions to prevent greenwashing, that are helping us to have traceability of the data, more trust on the data, are empowering the people that we tend to leave behind, and actually pushing forward for the achievement of those goals. So I think that I sit in a really privileged position, because I get to see projects working on finance, projects working on traceability of data for the generation of carbon credits, projects working in plastic as one of the ones that I just learned today, and I was amazed how we didn't know about these solutions before. So I think there's so much going on in the space, as you said, that we see the needle going in the right direction. However, one of the biggest things that I do and that I focus is on regulation, because I think that this at the core might be one of the challenges for some of the entrepreneurs. So access funding, of course, and I work a lot with VCs. We have a project called Unicorns Hunters, where we actually try to see which are those projects that need investment to scale and they have the potential of becoming unicorns. But we also have the problems with regulation, because if you don't have regulatory clarity and then there is no certainty, innovators do not want to innovate because they are scared to be falling out of the legal spectrum. And sadly, this is highly influenced by the media, because we hear about FTX, we hear about Luna, we hear about other things. And in the eyes of the regulator, this is a problem of the technology. So a big portion of my work is going there and talk to authorities and say well, this is not a technology, actually. This is just bad people doing bad things. And we have also in the traditional sector this. But with crypto, you can actually identify that they're doing something because of the technology itself allowed you to see when someone is going in the wrong direction. So this is just an intro of all the different hats that I use and the different projects that I've been working. We have with Lucas tons of initiative. I don't know how many at this point. One of them has the patronage of the 70% of the UN General Assembly, which is BC 100 plus. And what we're trying to do is connect the UN with projects like Ethics Hub already generating impact so they can scale at the global level. And the numbers that Gabriela showed, well, these are bubble numbers, right? Because this is how she said, really located in one product in one region. Now imagine how we can scale those numbers if we actually support them with investment in the regulatory environment.
Hi everyone, I'm Venus. I'm Chief Brand Officer of Masverse. We are actually an ecosystem builder from Malaysia, but our flagship is actually a layer 1 public permission chain. We call it a blockchain. Maschain, right? So to share a little bit on the successful cases that we have done in Malaysia with, the topic today, I think I would like to share a little bit breakthrough on how we have used, blockchain to help solve the zakat fund distribution. So for those who are non-Muslim, zakat fund is actually mandatory for Muslim. They contribute 2.5% out of their saving to actually help with the poverty. So there are a lot of issues with the existing system or the manual way of doing, the fund distribution. So with blockchain, you actually allow the fund from the distributor to go directly to the intended beneficial, right? So from there, with the transparency, and it also helped to cut down on the operating costs for the overall NGO as well. So besides working with government, local, we do work a lot with industry to push, blockchain for different industry like supply chain, even for fintech industry. But our passion, I think, is very much today on, using blockchain to help with the NGO. So this is something that we have done recently.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. I'm Meet from India. I'm a software engineer by profession, and almost 13 years I'm in this field. Last 2 years I'm in the Algorand ecosystem, and now I work as an engagement support engineer at Algorand Foundation India. Right now we are discussing about the bridging gap between the innovation and the social impact. I act as a bridge between the enterprises and the development team. I work as a technical support for the Algorand-based project. So right now, we are working on very interesting and impactful projects in India. I'll explain one of them that right now we have collaborated with one of the first cooperative bank, which is for the rural India women. Actually, it is not only financial institution, but it is a community dedicated to empower the women to become financially independent and confident. And they have almost 1 million women connected with them. And now they have very innovative products for them, like doorstep banking, group guarantee loan, or they have curated nice business training platform and support. In this process, they train these women for the different small scale businesses and provide first loan of 5,000 rupees. And gradually, they create their credit score with their documentation and loan repayment history. And when the main problem starts, when the women grows in their business and start to get bigger loan. But due to lack of collaterals, they don't get loans. So as they are creating the credit tool, the representative of that bank goes with that lady to other bank, provide the proof that this is lady, she has good history of the repayment and all these things, and help them to secure bigger loan. But the main problems arises because the representative of that bank is becoming bottleneck to scale this model. So here blockchain comes into the play. Like we have created nice mobile application where women can upload their documents and get verified from the Mandeshi. And that time we will create the personalized NFT and send it to the wallet. And slowly we are creating their identity with verified and verifiable credentials. So yeah, the next week we have pilot launch with them. And yeah, that is the main, one more project, maybe later I'll explain about that.
Yeah, it's super excited to hear about each of your different sectors that you're operating in, and also like in diverse geographies, and addressing like local challenges and meet people where they are, right? has been like I guess a narrative throughout some of your conversations. I think also and I work at the Stellar Development Foundation, and our mission is to create equitable access to the global financial system. And so this means that the Stellar ecosystem and the project that we support consists of like impactful use cases and really focused on providing everyday solutions that can unlock like opportunities for, especially for underserved communities that are completely left out of the traditional financial system. And so some of our ecosystem companies include UNHCR, who leverages Stellar for humanitarian aid use cases and distribute cash directly to displaced people in Ukraine since the war started, which actually for them it's a lot of a faster and more efficient way to transact and send transactions than traditional solutions. Another company, and I was actually quite inspired by the previous keynote as well on like lending and borrowing specifically to farmers. One company I'm pretty close with as well addresses kind of the lack of access to formal credit in Tanzania. And this is a really large like issue, especially I think 70% of SMEs in Tanzania currently don't have access to formal credit. And this company actually leverages a DeFi liquidity pool on Stellar, and so far has supported over 1,800 SMEs in the region, and one of the most vulnerable, I guess, like regions out there. Yeah, so I think really like what we're seeing here is this financial services, like access to financial services that blockchain can offer, really has a ripple effect across life, quality of life and opportunities that weren't available before. We have to go a little bit more on schedule, and I'd love to hear more about each and every one of you. But actually, like based, because you're so diverse, also like geography based, I would love to know a bit more about how you see public and private partnerships to enhance like blockchain's role in addressing those global challenges. And I guess maybe we'll start from there and we'll go back.
Sure. Our both of the, like in the second project, we are creating digital health passport. Like these low-income women are don't have identity to get the government scheme for the healthcare. So we are creating digital identity for them as well. But we closely want to work with the government. As Dilip sir said that we in India, we have DigiLocker. It is like a digital wallet. It is Digital India initiative to empower citizens and keep the digital documents secure with them. So all organizations, universities are issuer on that system. So people can directly fetch their authenticated data or authenticated file with them. So we are connecting that DigiLocker with application. When we upload or fetch any document, we get the unique identifier for that file. And so we are keeping those files in the NFT, in the metadata. So indirectly, we are connecting with the government as well. And we are creating decentralized identity. And in the Personal Identifiable Information Act in India, you cannot store data, unencrypted data on the servers. Like the complete digital infrastructure becomes uncompliant. So that's why we are working that we will not store any data on the servers, like on their company, like the enterprises server, but the data will reside with the people's DigiLocker. So yeah, that's how we are working with the public and all the government things.
I see the partnership between private and public as a bridge to actually fast track the adoption. When we first started our company, we used to go on ground, to try to push this technology to everyone that we meet. But we can only do so much, right? So with the endorsement of the government or government agency, it really helps to fasten the industry adoption. We are lucky in Malaysia that we have, agency like MDAC. I think earlier he shared as well. So to put blockchain as one of the focus stack, I guess we are lucky, right? And that way, it helps to promote this technology to industry, and that creates trust as well. Like we know what's the whole crypto phase at first, everyone looking at it as, so I see that as a bridge that can really help to fasten up.
I basically agree with absolutely everything that you said because, and I think that was Gabriel as well, the one that quote Vitalik about the importance of legitimacy. And I think that like bringing the public sector give you that legitimacy, but at the same time, when we look at the public sector, not only governments, but beyond international organizations and cross-regional and borders organizations, this is what actually can help us to break the bubble in which we are, right? Because I have worked with Stellar, like I was actually like looking at them and I'm like I think that I know all of you and I have like with more than one already work, which means we are actually in a bubble. And we can only grow as big as our bubble. And if we are always in this closed space, we are never going to generate the impact that we can with the technology that we have to actually like make changes at the global level, right? So I think that having partnership with the public institutions help to bring the legitimacy that will help the day-to-day Miguel or Maria to have trust in the technology and be able to approach it and use it and scale. Now, I was really surprised when you say that that's fast track, because I was like, there's nothing slower to try to convince a government that they should do something different because they think that they're doing everything right. Especially if you just, elections. Let's not go into that rabbit hole. But yeah, I think that like this is something that the industry should be really conscious that building those relationships with the public sector takes a lot of time because you also need to build trust. But once you actually put efforts in building those relationships and having trust, and then you have like pilots at the national level, this is actually what is going to scale your project. Because we are not talking about like hundreds, we are talking about like millions or billions of people that they need to work with, right? And also it's not coming to the governments and the public institutions with, hey, I have a new idea, let's do this, but it's actually like coming with like, you have a problem, I have the solution, right? Like this is the right approach, Gabriela, like to the point right there, because this is how we should talk to them. One example only is in the Netherlands. There is a project that is working with like purpose-bound tokens. It's called IoT Netherlands, and they work together with the municipalities to distribute money to families that were heavily impacted during the COVID time. And this money was distributed to pay for the energy bills in a way that they could only claim that those tokens if they provide some information that was via the blockchain to keep like privacy. For the municipalities to also understand how to do public policy for the energy transition. So the municipality was getting data that they needed in a private manner, in a way that like the people trust that they can provide the data. The people is actually like being rewarded for the data, that this is something that like I think that is a really big value proposition of blockchain, because we normally give our data for free and then they profit from us without us getting nothing else that like a horrible ad that's something that we might not want to buy. And then the people can use the tokens to buy hardware to make their houses more sustainable. And they can only buy it in local stores that are part of the project. So they activated community, they rewarded people, they got the data that they wanted, and they distributed money in a way that was planned already by the municipality in a completely innovative way. And was because this project came there and said, like, I can do that and better and cheaper for you, and you actually gonna be more effective. So I think that this is the type of approach that projects should start thinking and considering when they approach the public sector.
Yeah, lot of work. I mean, sometimes when I think about institution, I'm like, there's no blockchain system at scale without institution, because this is where we're gonna really, shift or change the game in a way. Especially when you see that, identity is still something that is mainly provided by governments and other essential systems as well. But in the same time, I'm like, if decentralization is about shifting power from the center to, outside the network, well, then working with institutions is going to be very difficult. We've done a few projects with a German development bank or the German government as well. Just one thing I want to highlight is that most people that are in decision power, they are the ones who don't necessarily understand technology, especially the speed and the risk associated with technology. And what has been always very, very key in the project as so success is the amount of effort they put in education, hand-holding, lobbying, knowledge dissemination about the technology and how it works and the risks. And so it works in corporate, but also in public institutions. doing a lot of communication, education. I think is really something important to facilitate those public-private partnerships.
I won't say much in the interest of time other than to agree with everything that's been said, and just to highlight, I think that this isn't a compartmentalized problem. These are massive problems, and it requires all of us working together, and exactly as the previous speakers mentioned, to start addressing them.
Yeah, it's very interesting, kind of like mentioning some specific use cases here in terms of like what the real like opportunities are for the public and the private sector to work together. I mean, one is scale, like one is reach, legitimacy. There was like some talk about how to actually get started through like pilots. I think on that note, it's been really interesting also at the Stellar Development Foundation. We've done a lot of, if you want to actually, if you have a mission called like create equitable access to a global financial system, like you have to work with the public and the private sector in order to make that happen. Like for instance, we have been collaborating with the German government, the GIZ, to leverage Stellar to streamline payroll for hospital workers in northwestern Syria. And if anyone, I guess, is familiar with the situation, it's really difficult to get money into the country. Also because, and so like actually one way is to actually do it through like the Turkish post. And so as you can imagine, this takes very months, right? And so this pilot, leveraging blockchain, like Stellar Blockchain, has reduced salary delays from months to instant payments, and actually like allowing the hospital workers to cash out at local hawalas. And so this actually allows this medical staff that is obviously critical to supporting kind of on-the-site emergencies to be paid reliably and securely. And so this is a powerful demonstration of how blockchain can actually, when combined with these government partnerships, can deliver real-world impact into these, where these traditional systems can fall short. I guess like we have about 5 more minutes, and I would love to know from each of you, maybe like a one-liner on how you think, given that blockchain might relatively be new in the in the public sector, what steps can be taken to increase adoption and build trust, so that we can actually deploy blockchain at scale.
I've got the mic, so I'll go first. I think there are a number of things we need to do. We need to abstract away the technology. We need to make it easier for people to understand, easier for people to use, easier for people to adopt. It's not about getting blockchain used, it's about solving problems. Blockchain can be under the hood. I also think that we have a branding problem as an industry. We need to get out there with more of these stories. We need to raise the visibility of some of these phenomenal initiatives so that people can see how it can be used, and see beyond the grifters, the scammers, the meme coins, the madness. And I think, one of the core beauties of blockchain is the composability of the technology. And I think we need to continue to work together and be composable humanly, continue supporting each other. And together, the rising tide will lift all boats.
I'll talk again about education, education and youth as well, especially with youth. With the BGA, we're actually involved, and also Mariana and other people, we're involved in Africa Web3 Impact. It's a database initiative we have started earlier this year, and the report will come out in February. It's basically highlighting successful Web3 impact application in Africa. One of the things we saw is a lot of impactful initiatives are actually built in New York, London, Singapore, and then they are going to be implemented in Africa. And I think what's really important is to develop African solutions built by African. Same with Malaysia, same with Thailand. But when you look at education, universities that teach blockchain and smart contract developments, we're not in the same situation. So there's a lot of challenges. A lot of blockchain foundations, ecosystems, philanthropists have started to address it and invest more in technology transfer and education. I think that we've seen a lot of program in Cameroon, Rwanda, Kenya, with very successful educational programs for young developers and young entrepreneurs as well, to build a technology that solves the problem that they know best without introducing bias, from people that think one solution can apply to all. I think that's something really important moving forward.
Oh, I don't know what else is to say. Like, I think that you cover almost everything. Like, the marketing part really important, the education part really important, the user-friendly part is really, really important. I will just only say that, like, right now, I think that, like, we have a really big opportunity to achieve more scalability. And it's based actually on a quote that I heard from one of the projects that I work with that I love, that is just like, sometimes blockchain is like the Fight Club. The first rule about the Fight Club, you don't talk about the Fight Club. And this is actually come to the core of what you were saying of like how we solve issues without actually like selling blockchain as the magic panacea that is going to solve everything, but actually as a useful tool. And I love that like now all the attention is shifting to AI. Actually, like some people were really nervous about it. Like I've been working with AI since the beginning as well. When I started with blockchain, I actually work with new technologies. And this is what I was always saying, like, you should not look at technology as like in isolation. Like we have like AI, we have here blockchain, then we have within blockchain, we have like actually DLT and crypto, and then you have here VR and augmented reality, because all of them are going to come together and play a role in the digital economy. And what is really interesting here is that blockchain is going to be the underlying layer that is going to serve as a trust layer for all the other applications to be built. And this represents a massive, massive opportunity for us because it's stepping away from meme coins and like, the gambling and speculation that like, honestly, I can care less about that. If you have fun with it, like go for it. But like the only thing that I have seen is like bad advertising for the industry, nothing useful. And NFTs, the core of NFTs is on the certificates that you can put, not on like the other monkeys or whatever it is that they're putting now on the NFTs. So there's actually the usability and the technology, and I think that finally we have the perfect excuse to approach authorities and public actors and VCs and tell them there's tons of risk with AI in terms of like data privacy, data ownership, actually like biases. Blockchain can solve it. And just invest in me and I can prove you that this works, because investment is one of the things that we barely discuss today, and I think that this is at the core, because yes, if you work with the public sector, it's a top-down approach mostly, but we have like so much power in the communities, Stellar, Algorand, Cardano, Hedera, all of them have really strong communities building amazing projects, and it's in the projects that I would like to invest the money and see how they grow, right? Like, I mean, like, again, like Ethics Hub is one of like those examples that is at the core going like bottom-up approach and changing everything for good. So this is the kind of things that I would like to see more investment going, and actually like they are the ones that like, they are like the ones that I use as an example that blockchain can be this and not monkey and NFT, right?
I think this side of the industry, we are doing the hard and challenging work, but I think that's why we like this part of the environment, and I would like to end it by saying we got to continue to stay optimistic, continue to do our best, and maybe come together and more integrated and see how we can grow this part using blockchain for good. Yeah.
I will summarize in just 2 points. Like one is from the user end. Like blockchain is back-end revolution. So we should not create front-facing applications with the blockchain. We just keep the blockchain benefits behind, and we will use we will remove the blockchain complexity. Like when I was going for the pilot, and if I ask them to create wallet and remember 25-word seed phrase, they will tell me, okay, we have enough problem, go away. So we have to keep it very intuitive and very easy, just like Web2 application, and just add the flavor of blockchain. And as I'm a developer, this topic is very close to my heart because client gives requirement and need product tomorrow. So if you are creating problem for the developer, they will create problem for you. So you have to give because in the Web3, there are 2 hurdles. Like you need to understand blockchain and the concepts around the blockchain, and you have to learn new language and implement those other things in the Web3. So I'm happy to say that Algorand has given the options for the native Python and the TypeScript. So removing the hurdle day by day, developer will create more scalable and easy application to adopt.
That's super exciting. I guess to recap, right? It's about changing the branding of Web3 from not just meme coins, but actually a technology that can have large impact. We talked about the education, the importance of education, and also the co-creation of these solutions with the actual communities that it serves. We've talked about the need for investment into certain impactful blockchains. Staying optimistic and hey, we're all in this together. Let's collaborate because these are really large issues. And then finally, about abstracting away the complexity to actually make the solutions for the masses. I think these are very great wisdoms that we can take away. Thank you so much, and give it up for this amazing panel to talk about real-world impact in Web3.